What else do you like?
So I'm not going to get ahead of the Trump administration on the executive orders, but there may be a great executive order coming up soon regarding the Department of Education.
Yes.
I will tell you that. So keep on watching X and Truth Social. There may be something really really good coming up in the next few days or even sooner.
Are you a voting member of the NRA? My name is Lucretia Hughes NRA. I will never compromise my beliefs in God, family, our country, and my Second Amendment. I am running for the board of directors of the NRA, and I would appreciate your vote.
Hey, Congressman Jim Jordan here. Just wanted to say thank you for helping Veterans for America First and all the great work they're doing.
Hey, Congressman Mike Collins here. Listen, a big shout out to Veterans for America First, organization out there doing great things, backing candidates and helping our veterans, people who really need your help and deserve all the gratitude. Debt we could never repay them. Thank you for what you're doing. Keep up the hard work.
Welcome back where you can't trust my husband for diddly squatting. I see Audrey, I see her, and I see her. So you know what, welcome back everybody to the Real News with Lucretia Hughes and Dave, where our next guest, like I said, we're bringing her on because you can't trust my husband doing anything else. Y'all do not forget to go over there to fallbackusa2.myshopify.com. Mama Nancy's right here talking about buy a pocketbook. Buy a pocketbook.
And I just want to come on and thank each and every one
right
of
there.
y'all. Hey, for my birthday wishes. Now I'm finna go lay it down. That's what old people do. I'm tired.
You going to lay down, Mama?
I'm going to bed.
Go to bed, Mama. You need anything?
I'm going to bed.
All right. Well, happy belated birthday yesterday.
Belated?
Yeah, happy birthday, Mama.
Yesterday was my birthday.
We know. We just want everybody want to tell you happy birthday, Mama.
And I told everybody thank you for wishing
Mama
me
said
happy
thank
birthday.
y'all for saying happy birthday to her. So, yay!
For the dollar, everybody.
Okay, and make sure you go in there and make a pocketbook so you can sell that.
Go lay my body down.
Okay, go lay down, Mama. Just, don't argue with Mama Nancy. But who we gonna talk to next? Dave, bring her on. Her name is Audrey Neu, everybody. She is on the school board in Georgia, right?
No, I'm not on the Cobb County School Board. I am a campaign manager for some of the candidates that ran and volunteer on their campaigns, and I've been working alongside, helping organize grassroots efforts in Cobb County.
You got your hands tied. You got your hands full. You in Cobb County, Georgia. When did Cobb County become Fulton County? When did that start happening?
So I gotta say, it's a very interesting concept because the Board of Commissioners is very blue. Every other seat that is locally held in the county is very blue. The Republicans have maintained the majority on the Cobb County School Board, and it is very much because of the common sense values and the policies and the superintendent that's in place that has gone off the charts, standing up for the safety of children in every direction. And he has made big vocal stands. He's even to the point of putting his job on the line. If we had lost this last election and the board had flipped, he would have been fired.
Yes.
So I give all of the credit to the boldness of the superintendent and the residents of Cobb County seeing the common sense policies matter.
Well, the state school superintendent is Richard Woods. Now, we just saw that President Trump signed an executive order. He's getting ready to gut the Department of Education and send it back to the states. Now, we know our Georgia State School Superintendent is Richard Woods. Do you think he's going to bring a coalition of superintendents from all around Georgia to have the curriculum back to the forefront and it be left up to our school boards or our state superintendent, school superintendent, to make the curriculum with not only superintendents, but also teachers, parents, no matter if it's private, co-ed or even, homeschooling? Do you think with this coming down that we're going to have more of our superintendents having a bigger voice at the curriculum that is taught in their schools?
That is a very good question. I think all of us are in a big wait and see moment. I can definitely see the state superintendent reaching out to especially the bigger districts in the state of Georgia. It's very interesting that the demographics are so different across the state of Georgia that what works for one county is not going to work for another county. Cobb County has over 106,000 students, which is larger than the overall population of the majority of counties in the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. So again, what works in, say, rural South or Middle Georgia is not going to work in Cobb County and vice versa. So I think it's going to be very important for Superintendent Woods to pull in superintendents that represent all of the different aspects of the entire state and really form, a coalition, if you will, to help advocate and direct this policy. I'm a huge fan of the education being sent back to the states. Nobody knows Georgia students better than the state of Georgia. We saw so much coming down from Biden and the waste that's coming from the federal government that is so unnecessary. It does not help education. We saw transgender policies being pushed through federal funding of school lunch programs and the whole nine that just does not work in the state of Georgia. It's not going to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm positively optimistic.
Well, I can tell you, school board races are cutthroat. Now,
Yes, they are.
They didn't used to be, and you didn't have to throw a lot of money into school board races, but now that it's cutthroat, and we know that a lot of money was being funneled in from left-leaning advocacy groups, George Soros's of it all. Do you feel like now that that money is being taken away, especially with USAID, and we found out a lot of money was being funneled back down here to do this, now that a lot of these funds are being taken away, do you feel like it'll be an even playing field when it comes to running for school board races, bringing money back into the schools, bringing all those different aspects, now that it's going to be an even playing field?
No, I don't think it's going to be an even playing field at all. While you do have a lot of these NGOs that have received funding through USAID, it's so important to understand here in Cobb County. I can't necessarily speak to any other county in the state about funding of school board races. In Cobb County, the Southern Poverty Law Center has had their sights set on the Cobb County School Board for several election cycles now, pouring millions of dollars in to flip seats. This particular election cycle, there's a 7-member board in Cobb County. The even numbered seats will run with the governor's election year, and the odd number seats run on the presidential year. So it just happened to fall that this past cycle, we had 3 of our 4 Republicans up for re-election, and we had to hold all 3 seats in order to save our board. So we saw the Southern Poverty Law Center come in for the second time in a row, very heavy-handed in cash, supporting the candidates to flip these seats. They have already said on their website that they want to pour $100 million into Cobb County moving forward. So we have our work cut out for us. It's important to understand that school board races once upon a time would cost, $13,000, say. One of our seats, by the end of it, went through almost $90,000.
Oh, wow.
And that was just for one. And we still had the other 2 that went through almost as much. So this is not what it used to be. When I first started, kind of paying attention to and advocating for our Republican majority on the school board, nobody cared. I was kind of the fly in the back of the room, like, governor's race is great, the presidential race is great, but our kids are here, and our school board needs help. And to be fair, they were holding their own and they were standing strong before I arrived, but they did not have the general public standing up for them. And I think that is what has helped them to be able to come in and say, okay, we can take these big, massive stands to protect the children against gender ideology or against the books, the pornographic books that are in the schools. And it was this last election cycle in particular was all hands on deck, to be
Yes.
honest. It was members of the community coming in and saying, okay, what do you need? How can we help? And everyone that did that had an idea of how they could help individually. There was a woman who has become a very good friend who decided that churches in Cobb County needed to stand up. And
Yes, they
so
do.
she pulled together a letter to send to every pastor of, rather prominent churches in Cobb County, pointing out the content of the books that were being pulled. And the only thing she said is that I can't sit back and do nothing. And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt of maybe they haven't seen the content for themselves. Maybe they're taking the narrative, they're pushing it off as a political issue. But what they don't understand is once you see what is happening, be it with the books or the transgender ideology, first of all, you cannot unsee it.
No.
And most importantly, God will hold you accountable for being silent.
And it's their children. It's like they don't talk to their children. And kids talk when they come home. So it would seem what they're being pushed in the books, in the pornographic material, the questions they're being asked by their teachers, the pastor should have stepped up a long time ago. What are some of the issues that the left and the school board are trying to push on Cobb County students and the teachers?
So the Southern Poverty Law Center very heavily influences the Democrats that sit on the board, and we can see that in the narrative that they try to push, right? So when the superintendent announced in September of 2023 that he was removing the books, the pornographic books, they pushed the typical narrative of, this is homophobic, this is racist, this is, all of the labels, right? So it was really on us. And they came out, by the way, not only did they push back against this, the Democrats came in and put some of these books in front of them in the school board meeting to protest this and support. They were not counting on Cobb County citizens coming in to expose the content. Because to be fair, I've talked to a lot of people, even on the Republican side, who have no idea what's in these books. They have no idea the true transgender policy that's being pushed.
There's no one on the school board that should be allocated to thumb through some of these books. Somebody on the school board need to have a list of what is in the summary of what's in these books and even thumb through it to make sure they're not sending any of that pedophilia and pornographic stuff in our public schools.
Yeah, so what ended up happening is a group of residents in Cobb County got together and said the easiest way to expose this is to have a website that is strictly about Cobb County. So only the books that have been pulled out of Cobb County are going to be on this website, and it's going to show the content because that makes it easier for a lot of people to just share a web address as opposed to a screenshot of the book that no one really feels comfortable posting these pictures, right? So I don't think they really counted on the community in Cobb County coming together to expose the content. And I have to give credit to the superintendent who made it very clear when he announced he was doing this, that this was a battle between good and evil. And even if it cost him his job, he would stand on the side of good and protect the children. So it still to this day blows my mind that anyone could argue against it, but they still to this day push against it. Yeah.
What help do you need? Because I'm in Georgia right now, and it's going to be affecting my grandkids and our grandkids. Right. And it's trickling over to Hall County and Jackson County. So what do parents out here need to be aware of? Because if it's happening in Cobb County, it's most definitely happening in all 159 counties. What do you tell moms and dads out here that we need to be looking for? Or if they're interested in actually running for office? Can you help all over the state?
That is a conversation to have another time. But yeah, what you need to look for, first of all, is feel free to go to the website that was set up for Cobb County. It's called booksinschools.com. It shows the content. A lot of people, I always start with giving an elected official the benefit of the doubt. Okay, maybe you're not up to speed on this particular topic. This is my bubble. It may not necessarily be yours. So, and a lot of people will shy away from it. Give them the content so that one, you know they know. And once you know that they know, then it's time to come in and say, okay, now what are we going to do about it? Are we going to hide? Are we going to pretend like this isn't really an issue, like these books aren't really there? Because I guarantee you, unless the school district has made an effort to pull these books out, they are there, if they realize it or not, because the publishing companies send in crates full of books that may or may not be vetted by the staff because it's so overwhelming to do. And up until recently, no one could really wrap their brain around content like this being directed towards children. So it's, again, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So stand up. You don't need any sort of organization or anything to really even come behind you. You just need to learn the details and the specifics of your own county, of your own school board, and of your own superintendent, and see what they're doing. If they have already taken these steps, what they need more than anything is your support and your advocacy to show that the community backs them, the community supports them for making these decisions. If they're not, to be perfectly honest, I'm very proud of what Cobb County has done. And so point to Cobb County and say, if they can do it, if the second largest district in the state can do it, so can you.
Ooh, so with the second largest school system in the state, how much is consumed through taxes when it comes to, let's say, the state level? Because we're seeing now what's going on at the federal level, and I know a lot of states depended on the federal grants and the federal loans. So how much are we given from the state of Georgia, and how much more do you think, in order to turn everything around, get all this stuff out, can we save money, or we need to spend more money on Cobb County school districts?
That's going to be a good question. The majority of the revenue, it's between 53 and 54%, actually comes from local revenue, your property taxes, and then you have the next majority is state funding, and then there's roughly 1%, 1 or 2% of the budget is federal funding in Cobb County. Now, to be fair, that percentage actually adds up to about $11 million. So it is going to be an issue. It's how they're going to work around it. I am willing to bet everyone, again, is just kind of waiting to see. Cobb County is phenomenal at being proactive in these areas. So, you know, they're already kind of taking steps to shift, especially with the school choice bill that came down in Georgia last year. I know there's a push this year, and there will be in years further, to increase the school choice funding. So Cobb County has actually created an online learning platform called Cobb Virtual Academy, and they have just recently, in December, opened it up to homeschool families and even private school families. So there are about 50 classes through Cobb County schools that, as a homeschooler, you can, across the state, by the way, this is not, you don't have to be a resident of Cobb County, and I believe you just have to be in the United States actually to qualify for these classes. You just log in, you register like you would for any other co-op or anything else, and they're done strictly online. And it's, you know, my son actually just started one. I have three kids, two still in high school, that are homeschooled. So it's, when I got the email saying, hey, you know, classes are open, because there was a gap for my son that I was having trouble figuring out, I was thrilled, because the level of excellence that Cobb County pursues is truly one of a kind when it comes to school districts. So everybody, I would imagine, is in a wait and see on what's going to happen with the funding. It may be that a lot of districts across the state do have to tighten their belts based on how much federal funding comes in. I know there's been a lot of pushback of, well, school lunches aren't going to be covered and, the children are going to starve and all of the chicken little stuff that the Democrats do. And if that ends up being the case, I would actually call on the community and look at the churches and say, okay, once upon a time, charity came from the church and it came from the community. It was not until after the federal government stepped into that space that the church backed out. So maybe there's a way to create a fund, for these children
I like that,
and put
actually.
more of the responsibility back in the
Well,
community.
Jeffrey came out, Hakeem Jeffrey, Democrat, came out today and said that if Trump guts the Department of Education, kids with disability are going to be thrown out of school. And I'm sitting here like you said, the chicken little fear
Right.
factor of it all doesn't make any sense. But one, someone that's getting ready to pass their bar exam, whenever he decided to go take that test, he has a question. What strategies are being taken to bunt the effects of the dark money invading these school board races? How do you do that? Because if you went for 13,000 on a school board race, knowing that there is dark money, knowing there is money flowing from outside of the state of Georgia into the school board races, what are some of the strategies to stop that? Because from 13,000 to 90, it's just a school
Yeah.
board race. It's not even a state representative race.
So I would actually call on the local candidates to take a stand against that, while the Democrat candidates were taking endorsement after endorsement and funding after funding from different PACs. Southern Poverty Law Center is one. One of the Democrat candidates had a big push from a pro-choice group where she had to sign a pledge saying that she would promote pro-choice values in her elected position.
As a
It's
school
a school
board,
board. Yes.
and she's supposed
Yes.
to be protecting the children.
Yes. Yes. So it's really, there does need to be a light on this. I will say our Republican candidates relied on mostly Cobb County money. If there was money outside of Cobb County that came in, it came from friends or family. They had a very strong, because our Republican majority in Cobb County understands that when you take money from one of these large organizations, they expect something in return.
Yes.
So they don't want to be beholden to these groups. So there should be pressure and light shown on legally. I'm not sure that's a campaign finance issue. So
And
I
that
would
would
just
be at
say,
the county level. When it's a
yes.
race that's small or a race that way, it's through the county, not the state, where they go register, right?
So they file a declaration of intent. Everything gets filed to the local office, but it does get reported to the state. So it gets a little confusing if you're holding a local office on where you're supposed to file and whose rules you follow. But the state actually sets the rules. You just file with the local office.
Is it Democrat, nonpartisan, Republican, or do you have to say exactly who you are?
For Cobb County, is still a partisan board. We are one of the few left. And I have to say, I am a huge fan of that, because for whatever reason, the Republican side are the only ones that actually govern in a nonpartisan way. So I want to know exactly what party you align with. And it's calling the board nonpartisan, as we've seen, Gwinnett County is an excellent example. Making that board nonpartisan actually made it more political.
And didn't someone just get fired yesterday or the day before yesterday? The principal or the superintendent got fired in Gwinnett County?
The superintendent in Gwinnett County got fired, and he was an extremist. So Gwinnett County had a few new members on their board, and that was one of the first things they did, is they came in and examined the results that all of the woke policies brought to Gwinnett and the disaster that it was for the county, and he was sent packing.
Are y'all taking cues from Gwinnett of what not to do?
That honestly was a big push in this last race. There are a lot of people because Gwinnett is the largest, and so there are a lot of people looking at that, saying, okay, I cannot believe what happened over there. And so one of our strategies was, okay, well, if you don't like what happened over there, you need to vote Republican, because that will happen.
It will happen.
The Democrats have made it clear for years that if they get control of the board, they will fire the superintendent and bring in all of the policies we've been working so hard to keep out.
But he was Lucretia, for real. He maybe had the job 2 years. Maybe they switch superintendents like they do underwear, and I've never understood that for Gwinnett County. used to be a red county maybe a decade ago, and it just fell to the wayside. And I'm trying to figure out, is that going to happen and migrate all to these other counties around Gwinnett, because they seen that they lost in Gwinnett County, which is the largest. Now, since they lost in Gwinnett, are they going to be coming to our county, Walton, Hall County? You know, you got Cobb County. Are they branching out to try to take over these other school boards?
I would imagine that they want control of as many school boards as they can possibly get. You know, it's important to understand that the Democrats have always had a large focus on local races for this very reason. You know, it's pretty interesting, you know, that they don't necessarily have to fight, you know, for a pro-choice agenda. They don't necessarily have to fight to get rid of the Second Amendment if they have control of your children. They'll be patient, they will wait you out, and they'll have your children do all of that for them. So understanding that the conservative side, and it's hard for conservatives to understand the mindset that comes with these woke ideologies, they generally view the classroom as their little mission field. So conservative teachers don't. Conservative teachers are there to teach reading, writing, math, right? And they want to build the child up and have the child ready for the future, whereas the left wants little activists running around. So,
and they're tearing up those activists are training up Gen Z, Alpha, and it's so frustrating that parents lost control, and now we were trying to take control back, and we didn't lose control. Yes. They took the control from us.
They took control, honestly, while the conservative parents were not paying attention.
You know, I just typed it in. I was trying to be sneaky with it, and I just put in USA's in local schools. You know, they have a lot of control in our local school boards, and they actually send and give money also. How is that even liable for them to come in and meddle because of the Department of Education? Well, thank you for answering that question. That's just so what do we do?
It all comes back to the Department of Education. And I will say, anyone pushing back on that, you just look at the results. You know, once the Department of Education was created, our testing results, the standard of education has actually gone down. So as with everything else, the more the federal government meddles in it, the more it just wastes away. So having local control over the school districts, and I think it is very important for the state to oversee that, but, you know, to push the standards and to set, here's what the state of Georgia is going to look like, but then to be willing to work with the different size districts on what it looks like for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So everybody, because we are headed for the end of the show. See, it goes by. And Stan was like, well, you know, what they're going to talk about. We could find out something to talk about for 25, 30 minutes and still keep talking, because we gotta protect our children. Not only protect them, save our children, because if it happens in Cobb County, sooner or later it's going to happen in Hall County. If it's happening in Gwinnett, sooner or later they're going to try to do it in Walton. So you just keep up the great fight. Continue to vet people and get the great candidate. And if other candidates from different counties need your consulting business, I just gave you a whole job. Tell everybody where to find you, how to find you, and I'm gonna let you have the last word.
Honestly, I don't have a website. I don't have an organization. I am a mom of 3 that saw a gap, honestly, and decided to stand behind our Republicans and help fight for the education of our children. So, I mean, obviously, I'm on Facebook, Audrey Neu. I don't try to hide my profile or anything like that. It's, you know. So if someone wants help, honestly, at this point, you have my information, so they're free to reach out to you, and you can pass them on to me.
Absolutely. So everybody, this is Audrey Neu. Y'all get over there and find her on social media. Like she said, you don't need to be a big corporation or a business. You just need to be a concerned mom, dad, or citizen. And everybody, believe it or not, we are the ants. They are the
Yes.
grasshoppers. And when the ants finally realize there's a lot more of us than there will ever be of them, then maybe the mama bears and the papa bears would get back and go hunting after Goldilocks, because we about tired of her eating our porridge. That was crazy.
Absolutely. And, don't, even if you're standing by yourself, still stand. Like, you would be surprised at the difference one person can make. And once other people see one person stand up, they then find their courage and they begin to stand with you, which is what we've seen over the last, 4 years.
Amen.
It's just steamrolling it.
Oh no, we're gonna keep going because we got a nation to save. And even though Trump won, that don't mean we get slack, and that don't mean that we stop doing what is necessary. But my husband just pointed up the sky. He forever trying to give people signals. So please call me, and if you ever need my help, or even because it's just a hop, skip, and a jump over 285, because we're in Walton County. So I'm over there.
Okay, I know where that is.
And if you ever just want to come back on the show or bring someone that's running for, board or another seat or something that you're trying to do, please get back in contact with us and you can come right back on.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aubrey. I had a great night. Audrey. And it's Audrey, Dave. It's not Aubrey. And it's not a B, it's a D in it.
That's what I told you.
And you've been saying Aubrey all day.
No, I didn't.
Okay, whatever. All right, thank you, Audrey. This is my husband.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So everybody, that is the end of the show. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to have more. Friday, we have the CIA whistleblower that's coming on. So y'all make sure, if you're an NRA member, please make sure to vote for me. Make sure that y'all get on over there. Spread the news that I'm running for the board of directors. We will appreciate that so much. And then make sure you go to fallbackusa2.myshopify.com. And Sharon, please stop hurting yourself so you won't be rushed to the ER. Sharon, other phone. So on that note, Dave, everybody, please donate, share, and support us. Go ahead, baby cakes. See, one, nobody was asking questions, one. I would have stopped and asked the question just because I got somebody on here talking. If y'all got something to say or ask a question, I'm going to ask that question. Way to go, one. You was about the other person. There's been so many things that's held us down. Go on, Dave. But now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we got a long, long way to go. And where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting ourselves together. We're polishing up our acts down. If you felt like you've been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Well, don't you let nothing stand in your way. Hey, I want y'all to listen to every word I say, Hey, woo-hoo. USA, what? USA, 'cause ain't no stopping us now. We got the groove, we got it. Hey, we got it. Ain't no stopping us now. Okay, fine. What's gonna stop us? Me heading into the house. So on that note, everybody, this is the end of the show. Y'all have a blessed night. Wait. I, Trish, Christy Fowler, aiming for you. Warren, pick up. Right over here. I, then Kathleen and Mason and Karma and William and Karma and Nancy and Tigla and Karma and B-Dub and Docs and Def and Karma. Okay, back over here. I, then Patriot D for Evan Todd. That was it. Y'all some haters over there on X. I, then Pumpkin and Marsha and Sheena and oh my, and Jessica and Sandy and Sharon. Holler. Faded to black.
Here we go. She's on 5 to 7, 9 to 10 p.m. Fallback Productions. Talks about topics of the day and loves her country The U.S. of A. Got her Get Right rally on tax day. Got family country Trump is her thing. She don't know the songs, gives Dave a hard time. Don't worry, it's fine, he's still her Valentine. Keeps us in the loop, don't you know? Sit back and enjoy the Lucretia Hughes